Manchester United have recently welcomed Omar Berrada as the first appointment under the new leadership of Sir Jim Ratcliffe. This marks a significant move for the club, signalling a shift in management. And he's not on his own. There seems to be like a raft of people coming. But I'm just going to focus on Omar Berrada in this video. I did a little bit of research over the weekend after the appointment to sort of say, here's what we know about him. And more of my reaction to the announcement rather than anything else. This video I'm going to just do about who is he and what expertise does he really bring to United. Now, Omar Berrada was born in Paris with Moroccan roots, spent his formative years in Morocco before pursuing studies at the EU Business School. The journey then took him to Barcelona, where he entered the world of football through an opportunity at internet provider Tiscali. Berrada's breakthrough in football came when he joined Barcelona's marketing department in 2004 under the influence of his former Tiscali boss. Over the next 8 years, he climbed the ranks from media business development manager to the head of sponsorship, playing a pivotal role in negotiating global deals, including that incredible UNICEF deal and the TV3 arrangements. In 2011, Berrada was transferred or recruited by Manchester City, joining as the head of international business development. His responsibilities mirrored a little bit of those in Catalonia. He was involved in negotiations for sponsorships, and over the years, he ascended into roles such as Director of Partnership Sales, Senior VP Commercial Director for City Group, and contributed to the expansion of City's marketing domain. And then in 2016, he assumed the role of Chief Operating Officer, overseeing crucial aspects like transfers, scouting, sports science, and data analytics. His contributions included maintaining City's reputation for selling academy talents at a high value, developing the other City Group clubs, and making the data analytics department globally renowned. Berrada's tenure at both Barcelona and City proved invaluable to their footballing and commercial success. I think more so with City on the football side. I think it'd be unfair to give him any credit for the footballing side at Barcelona because it was a pure financial role that he was in there. I think at City he has had a lot more hands-on in a lot more areas that are more likely to benefit things on the football pitch. And I think that's why he is a good candidate for the CEO role at Manchester United. Not only is he someone coming from a business sense, which we've had in the past, and we've had successful people do that in the past, less so, I would argue. There's been some internal appointments. Ed Woodward was an internal appointment. Richard Arnold was an internal appointment. And I think going for someone external is a very positive move. Someone that's got experience at the highest level in football without actually being a CEO. But they've got experience in a multitude of different things. And he will understand the commercial side, and crucially, he also understands the football side. And one of the things that's been really key for Manchester City's success is not having the tail wag the dog, which is something that we've seen time and time again at Manchester United, which is where the club is beholden to the wishes of the commercial side, rather than the football side leading the way and the commercial side doing what it can. Berrada's, I've seen interviews with him where he's spoken about the importance of that. And I think that is something that he's going to bring to Manchester United. That change in focus that we've had, where we are a football club that puts football first, will be massive for us. Now, if we look specifically at United and also Jim Ratcliffe holds an interest in other footballing assets. He's got Lausanne Sport, he's also got Nice. Berrada's experience as COO of the entire football group, that City football group, starts to gain a little bit of added significance. Now, while Manchester United don't own all of these other clubs, could it be that Sir Jim Ratcliffe is trying to build a portfolio of football clubs? And does he want a non-league one based in Manchester playing in the Cheshire League at the moment? Not that he can buy us, but we need a ground, Sir Jim. Sort us out. Could he be trying to replicate something along those lines? I think Berrada's role, a prominent role in the City football groups, suggests potential insights into future planning and potentially future collaborations. seeing how United and Nice and Lausanne Sport start to interact with each other is going to be very interesting as this relationship develops. Now, as the CEO, or the new CEO, of one of the most prominent brands in sport, Berrada brings an extensive experience, both in football and business, of running a football club. With the backing of Sir Jim and the marketing acumen that them guys can bring, the possibilities for United future sponsorship do appear limitless. In essence, Berrada's recruitment marks a substantial gain, and it's not on its own. The other appointments, every appointment that they seem to be making seems to be, oh, wow, nice. Obviously, it's going to take a little bit of time for this to come to fruition. It isn't going to be as impactful as like a new centre-half or a new striker that you can see the impact of that Saturday afternoon. These things do take time. The strategic changes really take time. And it can take, Sir Alex Ferguson came in 1986, and it took him 6 years really for the things that he was implementing with United's scouting department on the youth side to come to fruition and for them to win the FA Youth Cup in 1992. And then it took another 7 years before that led to a team that won the treble. So it was an 11-year project to see United lift a trophy with players that were recruited under the new guidelines that Sir Alex Ferguson put in place. So you can't expect overnight success with this, but you've got to think with the right management and the right people in place, yes, a decade, you might start to see real significant impact. And some people will be like, I'm not waiting a decade. All right, cool. Don't let the door hit you on the arse on the way out. Other people can be patient. And I think if it's worth waiting for, and I think doing that sort of stuff is, then it's worth waiting for, isn't it? But either way, I think Berrada's recruitment is a big win and a positive, something that looks like it's going to deliver something promising in what could be a real dynamic era for the club. And it appears, going off some of the reports, that Ineos's plan is to get United to have a committee that's on par with some of the leading clubs in Europe, Manchester City's being one of them, in place before they start going after targets for the squad, especially coming in the summer, which is when Berrada will start. So Dave Brailsford has also set his sights on bringing Newcastle's Dan Ashworth to the table as United's sporting director. Jean-Claude Blanc is going to be involved with the United board and will work along the new CEO. We're starting to get the people in place. And there probably is a few more that need to come on board as well. But the pieces are starting to fall in place. And Berrada had a really interesting quote about how Manchester United conducted business and how Manchester City were different. So when talking about bringing Ruben Dias in and not bringing in Harry Maguire, this is what Berrada had to say. He said they refused to be rushed into buying Maguire the season prior, believing he was not worth the 80 million United had forked out for him in 2019, a figure which has come back to haunt both the player and the Old Trafford hierarchy. He said, when you make investments of that type, rushing to sign a player, when you get it wrong, it has a significant impact over many years. So we needed to get it right. He's talking about Dias, at the right valuation, at the right time, but more importantly, for the right player. In the same way we didn't rush into buying a centre-back last season after not wanting to sign Maguire for that valuation, this summer we had a very clear idea of what we wanted. Unfortunately, we got the player we wanted at the valuation we wanted. Now, it's always frustrated me as a United fan seeing Manchester City actually go to market and bring in talents like Ruben Dias for really, really, good money. Real good value. United just didn't ever seem to get good value when signing players. United always seemed to overpay. We'd always seem to go into negotiation, get told what the valuation was going to be up front, spend 3 months trying to get them down to something less, and then end up paying what they asked for in the first place anyway. Happened with Wan-Bissaka, happened with Maguire, very obviously. And it probably, look at Anthony. We scouted him and said, this is a 25, 30 million pound player, and then stumped up 80, 90 for him. Nice one. Good one, lads. And people go, so what? It's not your money. It's not, granted, although it kind of is. But the impact is, you sign Maguire for 80 million. They sign Dias for 40 million. They go and sign somebody else for 40 million. Probably Calvin Phillips around about that time. And then they keep it moving. They've now got 2 players. All right, Calvin Phillips didn't exactly work out. But they've got 2 players for the price of R1. And you do that over Maguire, Wan-Bissaka, Antony, Sanchez. Fucking hell, the list is endless at Manchester United. And you see how, yes, we're spending this dollar amount, this pound amount. Sounds weird. I said dollar for that reason. We're spending this amount of cash, euros, and everyone else is spending a similar amount of cash, but they're getting more players in than us. Not Chelsea, because they've fucked it. But do you know what I mean? And this is why it's important to have people that can do the negotiation. And then on the flip side of that, Chelsea are somehow spending billions on players and everyone's losing their mind saying, how are they able to do this? They're able to do this because when they're selling their academy players, they're getting really good value for them. Are Chelsea's academy players better than United's? No, they're not. But they're going for multi-million pounds. How did City get 19 million for James Trafford? The guy's shit. Meanwhile, we're selling Zidane Iqbal for 200 grand. We're selling Teden Mengi, who's just gone straight into a Premier League team and done a madness for hundreds of thousands of pounds rather than tens of millions of pounds. How much did Mark Gay go for from Chelsea? How much would Levi Colwill go for if he was to leave Chelsea? These are the sorts of valuations that United need to be putting in place on our players because that's what they're worth. And we don't have anyone with any sort of footballing business acumen that can get these sort of deals over the line. That's why you need your Dan Ashworths, your Phil Mitchells, your Paul Mitchells, your Berradas. These are the guys that are going to go and get that because people have seen them doing work for other clubs. Dan Ashworth, we know he knows how much players are worth. So when you sit there in front of him, you're not sitting in front of Ed Woodward going, wow, yeah, you're right, Ed. No one can do what United can do in the transfer market. No, you're right. You're absolutely right. No, nobody could do it like United anyway. That's 80 mil, that, mate, yeah. You get mugged off. And when you get mugged off, you can't buy more players. And somehow Manchester United, the cash cow Manchester United, who've been living with this glaze of bullshit where they've had $1.5 billion siphoned out of us in the last 18 years, and now starting to feel the pinch of FFP because we've been run like a complete shit show for 18 years. Hopefully it changes with this guy. Get your comments in a bit. Hey, thank you for watching the video. If you are new around these parts, then don't forget to subscribe. My channel is proudly supported by my community on Patreon. If you'd like to get a little bit of extra content, a Discord group, meetups, five-a-side games, weekly podcasts, behind the scenes, and even an occasional bit of transfer news as and when I get it, then for the price of a pint, you can show your appreciation for the content that we make and get some goodies for doing so as well. Check the link in the description or click the button right here. You'll also find all of my socials here too if you want to follow me on any of those platforms. Nice one.